Rest in peace.
You are among the blessed. You have been chosen by God to compete for righteous glory. 8 other champions will enter, but there can only be one MoY. And now introducing your host, Jake, the gluten-free Harris.
What is up, my homies, and welcome into the MoY PLOY. It is your boy Jake, the gluten freak Harris, and I'm joined by Peter Cheater, Pigu, Hot Sizzle O'Donnell. You want to welcome into the
MoY PLOY. He's got a hoarse voice.
Oh my
That's
lord!
awful. I'm sorry, boys. I am playing shorthanded today with my voice. I will do my best throughout the podcast. But brother, what a great weekend it was. It was not good for you.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
I am sorry, but first of all, there's an incredible matchup this weekend, and I'm so upset. There are 2 bye weeks, dude. 2 major QBs on a bye week for Ray Rat. Just saying.
Yep.
I know we need to sum up what happened this past weekend.
Let's get into the Week 6 review.
You have to confront reality. You have to look in the mirror.
It's a place I don't want to look. Let me tell you that right now.
Mm-hmm.
So for Week 6 review, I put up a good fight. I would have beaten 5 of the other 8 teams that were available. 5 of the other 7 teams that were available for me to play against. It's just the luck of the draw sometimes, fellas, and it hasn't been a lucky year for me. 2 players down, 2 early picks down for the season, and a bunch of underperformers after that.
But have you been here before?
Yeah, I think I started a season 0-6 and then won a championship. So, am I going to keep fighting? Yes. Until I have that 7th loss, I'm going to keep scrapping no matter what.
And anything can happen. A backdoor entry at 5-7. It's happened. Last week.
It'll be 6-7 this year. But
6 and 7.
I still don't think it. I don't think my 6 and 7. Someone else's 6 and 7 make it in, but I don't think my 6 and 7 would make it. I haven't been scoring enough points. I think if we go to the standings, I am like
4th, or I think
I'm
5th,
7th in. I'm 5th. I'm 5th. I'm 6th in scoring, and it's by a decent margin.
Oof.
Yeah, it's rough. Anyways, Ray defeats the corrupt commissioner by 9 points. The story of this week, I would say, was that Russell Wilson had a fantastic first half, going like I think he was going 13 for 15 with a touchdown. I was like, great, he's got half the points I need him to have by the end of the first half. We got this. He got another point. Not even a point for the rest of the game after the half. He had 15 yards for the rest of the game in the second half and overtime.
You reap what you sow, I guess. Have you heard all these weird stories coming out about? Have you heard all these weird stories coming out about Russell Wilson and how he treats people as teammates?
When people are down, everyone wants to shit on you. I don't know if I want to believe all that stuff.
It's fascinating to hear about his personality.
Yeah, I think that's just haters coming out of the woodwork, kicking a guy while he's down because they can. And I think once the internet finds a target, the haters come out of the woodwork and they'll say anything to get some clicks, get some views. Okay. I think you can throw Richard Sherman into that. He's a clout chasing bitch. Yeah, you heard me, Rich. Fuck you. Clout chasing bitch.
Rich. All right, let's look at the second game. Brent Van Conyu
keeping the season afloat against the hapless Dak Sack and crack picks.
Did he bury Eddie Disler? Be honest. Was Eddie buried? Were two sentences handed out.
If Eddie can win out, he's probably going to have to win out. If he can win out, he's got a chance. He's in the same position as me, but worse because he has fewer points by about 45.
And Watson has him at negative 70 or plus 75 points. He needs to find 75 points when he plays me this weekend. Yeah. Eddie Disler.
I will say this: it gives Watson, the supercomputer, is giving Eddie a 9% chance to make the playoffs, and me only a 5% chance to make the playoffs. So I guess I'd rather be Eddie.
Eddie Disler.
Just kidding.
It might come down to Eddie's lineup. You only play Eddie and Brett once.
Yep. Next up, we had a battle of the powerhouse teams that only one powerhouse showed up to. More quarterback troubles for the Fandalorian. Keep playing the music in the background, Pete. More quarterback problems for Fandalorian. This has been the curse of the Billy Goat. When the team that trades away Tom Brady every year just falls apart.
It hurts. It hurts to see it. And
I'm gonna have to. I think I'm gonna have to trade Tom Brady back to him just to save this man's season.
See what happens.
So
it's not over. He's 4-2. He's in the top 4.
Oh yeah, no, I'd definitely rather be him. No doubt. All right, then final game. It was another do or die game. Not necessarily die because he did get the win last week, and no one really expected him to pull this off. But turns out the triple stack for San Francisco
Eddie didn't work out. He got a 2 or something. Yeah, 0.5.
Didn't really work out. Turns out that's not a great strategy. It's almost like the things we've been saying all year long. You know, it's not like we're not just talking out of our asses. We're talking out of our asses and our mouths.
I did say that worried me about Brett's team at the beginning of the year. That he was so invested in the Cowboys and the 49ers. And then both teams lost their starting quarterback. Bottom half of offenses.
Yeah, both teams lost their starting quarterback. Enough said. And Jimmy G is great if you need 150 yards passing, 1 touchdown and 1 pick.
And 1 pick.
I don't just between you and I don't understand the entire narrative around Jimmy Garoppolo being like a game manager who's not going to lose you the game. He averages an interception like almost every game. How is that not someone who's like actively losing you the game on top of actively not winning you the game, which by the way is actively losing you a game if you're not actively winning?
Ray Rat is playing him this weekend.
I mean, desperate times, but I'm out on Jimmy forever.
All right.
I'm a Jimmy hater. All right.
Brett is still in it. He's tied with Brent.
Let's take a look at some secondary matrix presented by the Missouri Aquarium Society. All right, so secondary matrix by the Missouri Aquarium Society. We're going to look at the path to the playoffs for the bottom teams and what these top teams need to do to hang on. All right, first up, Juju on my Chubb. Honestly, I think you just keep doing what you're doing, Doug. It is working. You're crushing. This rookie manager is crushing the league right now. He is ahead of your scoring by almost 71 points, is that?
Mm-hmm.
And then also his defense came to play, dude. Lowest points against in the league. He's rivaling second lowest, sorry. He's rivaling the MoY's defense. By the way, the MoY's defense, it travels, dude. Year to year. Just like the Patriots, always has a good defense. Fewest points against in the league for the MoY.
I want to say this about Z-Warren. 2 elite quarterbacks playing at the top. Look at the Rat Pack. He's right behind me. I'm getting nervous. Rat Pack, 2 elite quarterbacks.
Rat Pack.
The only other manager, Brett, he had Jared Goff on bye this week. Let's see what Jared Goff does against the Cowboys D. We'll see. My guess is it could be really bad, but maybe 24 points.
Yeah, yep. And honestly, I think with this year's playoff race, it's just a bit more boring than most years because we're not seeing the upsets. The teams that are supposed to win are winning, and the teams that are supposed to lose are losing. It's just been the haves and the have-nots, and it's split right down the middle. There's not, as of this moment, there's not really like a crack in the window that these bottom teams see to start clawing their way back in. And with you giving Ray that win to get him to 3-2, his confidence is only elevated. His team is playing like they're playing for a former MoY or something. It just, I gotta say, it hurts. It hurts. As one of these bottom boys here, I'm really looking for a crack in the armor here. I don't see one with Zach. I don't see one with you. I saw one with Ray, but his team is surging super hard. And, I think if we take a look at Ray's roster, that's rough this week.
He's down. It's about 70 to 80 points with
he is.
Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts out.
But you know what? If I'm looking at like some of his bench, I think there's high upside here with ETN. I don't like Zay Jones, but whatever. He's serviceable. He's been decent this year. He's 11 points. Like, well, do I want to start the wide receiver 43? No, I don't. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Kenneth Walker, massive windfall for you. Damian Pierce, massive value in the draft for you. Joe Mixon, been mostly disappointing this year, but
high usage.
High usage, I guess that means something. I think it just means that points are coming later potentially. But then the real explosion behind Ray's roster is just here on the back half. But again, high upside. Something happens to Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon has got crazy high upside. Something happens to Leonard Fournette, Rashad White has crazy high upside. Something may happen to Jacoby Myers, Tyquan Thornton. Also, Jacoby Myers isn't a world beater. Tyquan Thornton could just usurp him as wide receiver 1. I love the bench loaded with upside. I think Ray has put together a very good roster.
Incredible.
I don't think he's a pretender this year. I think he's a contender. I think Ray's team, barring injury disaster, I think he's got a real shot at making the playoffs and making a push late into the postseason.
He's got the highest QB ceiling point total in the league. I think it's higher than Lamar and Kyler combined.
Wow.
I don't know. That's spicy. Lamar and Kyler are so good. That's how dangerous it is. I know the Cardinals have stunk it up in the first half of the season, but Kyler has that ability to break the game.
Yeah, you're not wrong. All right, let's take a look at. Yeah, I agree, and he's getting Hopkins back. Although the Arizona offense it looks worse than the Rams offense, which is saying something. All right, which looks worse than the. Which looks better than the Broncos offense, which I'm heavily invested in. All right, next up, this is going to be the team at the moment that's probably presenting an opportunity for the losing teams, just in that he's starting guys like Jacoby Brissett and Justin Fields at quarterback. Jameis Winston, I think he's really regretting that trade, still on his way back. Derrick Henry will be back this week, though. And I think he's just got a problem of like too many wide receivers with big names that you don't feel like you can bench because they could pop off at any given week. Guys like Terry McLaurin, Amari Cooper, Brandon Cooks, Tyler Lockett. Those are all explosive options. By the way, get Gerald Everett out of your flex, dude. Those are all explosive options at receiver. They all have very high ceilings, and it feels like you have to start them going forward.
He's been banking on Terry Mack, who's been really struggling this year. Horrible.
Yeah, I mean he's not as good as Zay Jones has been. They're pretty much exact same points per game. So,
your dad has a favorable next 3 weeks. This will pretty much make or break and condemn him to my prediction or have me apologizing to him live on the MoY Ploy.
Good news.
He plays. Listen to this. He plays Brent. I gotta make sure I get this right. Brent, then Ray Rat, and then Brett. It's 2-4, then 4-2, then 2-4. Those are the records of the teams he plays.
I would love that matchup. I don't get the worst team in the league twice this year. I don't. Sucks to suck. Feels bad.
Your dad could be looking at 6-3 or 7-2. I
think if he gets goes 6-3, You got to feel great about that. You really only need one more win the rest of the way
to secure a
to sneak in the
playoff.
playoffs. And if we're going to talk about securing, Tua Tagovailoa is going to come back, I believe,
Play
this
him
week.
this week.
So he goes into the lineup. You're probably looking at, man, also, what is going on with Michael Thomas, dude? I want to see the year that Michael Thomas signed his big contract. Was that what did he go out the
That
next
was
year?
it. He went out the next year.
Is
That's it.
so this man just loves paid vacation, is what's going on then.
I might be on my own.
Oh no,
This is it, boys.
dude, this baby's only
We
been
are
asleep
doing it.
for. Hang on.
We can do it if we try.
Oh lord, I'm gonna go make a bottle real quick.
I will lead the MoY PLOY.
I'll be right back.
When are you gonna
she
leave me on
might
the screen?
fall asleep. It's so early. She might fall.
Here we are, boys. We are back to the MoY PLOY, where you are one-on-one with Cheater Peter O'Dizzle. All right. I had a couple more interesting thoughts that I wanted to share with you guys, but before we go there, let's just take a look at week 7. All right, I am up versus Eddie Disler. Going to be an incredible matchup. Eddie has a team. There's a lot of great big names on his team. I know you guys can't see the rosters. Eddie has Dak coming back. Eddie's got Aaron Rodgers, Saquon Barkley, DK Metcalf, Chris Godwin. I really like a lot of these matchups. Godwin going against Carolina, Saquon Barkley versus Jacksonville. Deion Jackson just carved him up for the Colts. Man, Najee Harris has been just an underperforming early round pick. Really struggling to find his groove from last year. And then we got some troubles for Eddie Disler. He lost Marquise Brown. Jonathan Taylor, unsure if he's coming back. We'll see. We'll see what if Eddie's got to round out his roster for the weekend. He's got a couple guys on bye. Gabe Davis is on bye. Carson Wentz is out with the broken broken finger. That's tough. It's mostly injuries and two byes. Minnesota Vikings and Miles Sanders on bye. Let's take a look at the Brent versus Todd Harris. We got an incredible matchup so far. Excuse me, Watson, the supercomputer, has this one within 6 points in favor of the Fandalorian, 4-2. In a power position, 4th place, looking at the playoff picture. He's got his quarterback situation, Justin Fields, Jacoby Brissett. I find it's somewhat stable. You know you're going to get a floor of about 10 points, 12 points, but these guys have the ability to pop off into the 20s. Oof, Jacoby Brissett. Yeah, he's a floor guy. 16, 10, 14 the last couple of weeks. Other interesting people, James Robinson. I got to look at I haven't been following the situation, but I just heard his usage has been suspect, or ETN has been maybe outperforming him. I don't know if James Robinson is startable anymore for the Fandalorian. Raheem Mostert is a must. The dude is unbelievable. Always high points available when he's played and given the ball. Cooper Kupp, lock and load him. Let's take a look at Brent's RBs. He's got Devin Singletary on bye this week. Leonard Fournette gets the juicy matchup versus Carolina Panthers. I think this one. Here's the thing: if Brent wins this is the biggest. This is just like the matchup a couple weeks ago when I lost to Ray. If I'd beaten Ray, it would have squeezed the teams closer together. This is such an important matchup for Brent to win because I think he's in 5th place. Todd is in 4th place. Again, get those records closer together. 1 4-3. The other would be 3-4. And we got game. Let's look at our next matchup. We got the Rat Pack versus Z-Warn. Let's go Z-Warn. 5-1. Absolutely dominating the league. unbelievable point production. I'm trying to think of why Z-Warren. How could we get Z-Warren to falter? I don't know. Um, Ray Rat. This is such a disappointing matchup this week, only because Ray Rat doesn't have his two stud quarterbacks going, and Z Warren does. I would love to see just an incredible fantasy matchup between these four quarterbacks. There's Ray still, what's wild is if Ray wins this game, it'd be outrageous. But Daniel Jones, excuse me, Daniel Jones has been, they've taken the ball out of his hands and put it more, and they've been trying to get Saquon Barkley his touches and everything. He's been serviceable, but in the past he's had some incredible rushing and volatile games. Nothing above 21 points so far this year. Jimmy G. Jake talked about Jimmy G and his just aversion to the whole Jimmy G process. Jimmy G's been Jimmy juicing 20 points, above 20 points in the last two games. Let Jimmy play. Jake made passing touchdowns an extra 2 points. So, Jimmy's going to throw for 2. Jimmy's going to get to 20. Rat Pack, he's got Joe Mixon, Damian Pierce, Kenneth Walker the third. Just a really strong opportunity backfield. These guys are going to get touches, goal line opportunity. Again, just like it's fantasy gold for Ray. And that's like these three running backs could be why he takes down Z Warren. I mean, I look on the other side of the matchup. Z Warren's running backs are outrageous. Austin Eckler, Nick Chubb, Brees Hall. Nick Chubb is so hot and cold. Last week he went cold. It's been mostly spicy this year. I feel like I disrespected Nick Chubb, but I don't know. I know Nick Chubb has like insane secondary matrix stats. Like he's probably like the third or fourth best rusher in the past 5 years for most yards. He's like, or maybe he's second. He's absurd. He's a really good running back, but I don't know. There's just something that I don't appreciate about him. I think that's unfair to Z Warren. Z Warren and Brees Hall has just been an absolute beast in fantasy gold. Brees Hall could be a league winner for Z Warren. Z Warren's just stacked. Devontae Adams in the flex. He's got his Bills defense on bye. He hasn't even substituted him out. Z Warren has more points on the way versus the Rat Pack. This it feels very one-sided in this matchup, but I really like some of Ray's matchups. There's high ceilings for a lot of these guys. Patriots taking on Chicago.
So, buddy,
nothing. I'm breaking down the matchups because
we're breaking up week 7.
We had nothing else to talk about. So
I wanted to talk a little bit about the bottom teams and their ability to get into the playoffs. Did you finish breaking down my dad's roster?
A little bit, but I just figured I'd roll into the matchup since I really didn't. I felt like you had better directional flow on where you wanted to go with your thoughts on these teams.
All right, so where are we at?
Well, I'm breaking down Rat Pack versus Z Warren. Z Warren's running backs are just absolute studs, but I feel like Ray's running backs have high opportunity share. They get up like Ray. There's a world in which Ray can beat Z Warren. I feel like Watson is underappreciating Ray's lineup. Jimmy G has put up 20 plus points in the past 2 weeks.
I mean, 20 points is cool, but also, who cares?
I feel like if Ray wants to win this, he can't roll out Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel, I feel like, has been really disappointing the past couple of weeks.
Does that mean he's due?
Maybe it is. Maybe he does want to roll him out.
I
like
think
Michael
the whole
Gallup.
offense
I like
is in
Rashad
disarray.
Bateman. Yeah, and now that they were trying to roll with Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is out 4 to 6 weeks with a broken finger. It's tough. It's gonna be tough for Ray to win without his 2 QBs. And Z Warren's team is just so stacked. He doesn't even have a defense that's playing, so he has more points on the way potentially. He could be projected for 200 plus. Just an absolute behemoth of a team.
Yeah.
He's got people on his bench like Chris Olave. That's really my favorite one, and that's the only one I like.
Yeah, you ain't wrong. right. What matchups have we not covered?
The last one, yours versus Brett Tet. Oh, I wanted to say, and this was something that's interesting. The matchup of the week is Brent versus your dad. Because
Sorry, you're
it's
breaking
the
up
same,
there. What were you saying?
The matchup of the week is Brent versus your dad. Because it's the
'Cause
same
it's the
premise
gatekeeper.
that
Yeah.
it's the gatekeeper. Yeah, it squeezes the records together. Your dad's in 4th, Brent in 5th.
Yeah, this is one of those
Squeeze it
where
together.
if my dad pulls off the win, it really just feels like the door just slams shut on all of the bottom
Yep.
teams. In that,
Pretty much.
it would really kind of suck, to be honest, just because if either foreign, like, you need to beat Ray, or Brent needs to beat my dad, just for the bottom 4 teams to really be playing for anything.
Yep.
Now there are prizes in the toilet bowl to be won, and there is the MoY and WoY voting to
Boy,
consider.
baby.
So you want to be avoiding the WoY if you can.
If you can.
So there are things to consider here, and but yeah, man, it just really sucks that the league this year just seems so cut and dry at the moment. But I've seen it flip on a dime. I've seen teams go on a 3-game losing streak, and it just suddenly just everything changes. So
Brent was in 1st place last year at this point, and Derrick Henry broke his foot. He traded Justin Herbert.
Yep.
It was 1-2 done.
you're right, yeah, and then you missed the playoffs.
He skidded.
All right.
6-1 or something, 6-2 in 1st place, and I made it to the toilet bowl.
Let's talk about this final matchup here. We have got a potential blowout coming in way of me getting fucking
Brett.
crushed by Brett in the projections right now. It is.
I have a bet that Eddie would
heinously
have
ugly.
less wins than Brett, but will you have less wins than Brett?
Likely.
Is an
Likely.
interesting question.
entirely likely at this point, my friend.
Do you
My
think Brett?
team
Do you think?
could not possibly be worse.
Do you think Brett Fitzgerald is celebrating his little victories, like on the MoY Ploy? Like, we buried him early on. He was so far behind in points. It was.
I think spite is his main motivating factor for finishing this season.
I love it, dude.
I do.
I love it so much. Brett is like, I want to stick it to them. I want them to shut their damn mouths, and they will remember Brett forever. Brett Fitzgerald.
The night they played the Titans.
I love it, Brett. Keep going, man, because I have the mortgage riding on you winning more games than Eddie Disler.
All right, that's all I got, guys. Let's wrap it up before my babies wake up again. Boys, thank y'all for being here. I will see y'all in the next one. Peace out.